Well, greetings, mind crafters, and welcome to another, super exciting Mindcraft podcast episode. I'm really stoked for this. And we're going to talk about the big leap part two because we just couldn't wind it up in one part. And I'm not even sure we're going to wind it up in two. But I'll tell you, I was recommended this book by a friend of mine in my mastermind group, and it's called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And that's where my inspiration comes today. So it's called The Big Leap: Conquer Your Hidden Fear and Take Life to the Next Level. And I don't care how successful anybody is, you had to wrestle with that to get to be successful. For one, you had to kind of blow out of those, beliefs. And even no matter how successful you are, and Gay has a lot of examples in his book, they still come back to visit you because it's kind of like the minute the minute we're like really excited about stuff, excited about life, becoming successful, the upper limit problem sneaks in to kind of return us to the thermostat. And I believe that's where we ended up last time. And I'll tell you, this book has really caused me to think because I even caught myself while I was reading this book. No, I mean, not actually physically reading the book, but during that maybe that day or two when I first got it. And I did this thing where I just kind of unconsciously just didn't jump on returning a couple of phone calls and emails to something that I thought I was going to have to, another thing I'm part of that I thought I was going to have to end, which actually has me excited. I thought, oh my God, I'm doing that. I'm doing that because I thought I had to not do that anymore because of my schedule, da 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 da. And so unconsciously letting things fizzle by not, getting back to these people super quickly. And I thought, wow, oh my gosh, how many times do we do this and we're just not even aware of it? It's like, oh, feeling too good. I like that thing too much. I'm doing too well. I'm being too successful. I like that group too much or whatever. And so we want to, our brain brings us back, as he calls it, the thermostat that we're used to. And I did another, similar, but not exactly the same. I did another episode a ways back about knowing your emotional home. And so it's not exactly the same as what we're saying here, but it's very, very closely tied because often not always, there can be an underlying belief system that we're not worthy enough. And so we sabotage ourselves. And I know lots of successful people now at this fabulous 59. That's where I am right now, fabulous 59. And I would say the high majority of them admit wrestling with that early on, really coming to terms with this isn't working because I don't feel that if I even get it, that I deserve it. And that's a huge problem because we cannot take care of a self we don't value. And we can't be successful if we don't feel we deserve it. I mean, that's just the bottom line. That is the fact, Jack. And so I even made a little note to myself from the last one. I underlined something. And Gay basically says it like that. He's just like, if you're ready to make this spectacular leap in one area of your life, which for me is, creating my new story. Those of you who listen to these episodes know that this is a long time ago now. I mean, like 2 decades ago, that I really did not have a good relationship with money. I have ADHD, which I prefer to refer to as a fast mind club because it's far more positive and there are also lots of benefits, lots of gifts to it. So this is about 2 decades ago, and it went on, well, most of my life until then. And it just, oh my gosh, it just wreaked havoc. And early on in our marriage, it caused, stress and all kinds of things. And so I've been writing this news story for the last couple of decades because I know that this is my own personal vehicle of the whole concept of self-love and healing and everything. We all have a different way to get there. And for me, that's mine because our relationship to money has a whole lot to do with our relationships to ourselves. So anyway, a little tangent there. So he talks about if you're making a spectacular leap in one area of your life, such as money, your upper limit problem quickly enshrouds you in a wet wool blanket of guilt that keeps you from enjoying your new abundance. Guilt is a way our minds have of applying a painful grip on the conduit through which our good feelings flow. When I read that, I put a big, like blue ink mark all the way down that part of the paragraph because it hit me like a ton of bricks. And gay also leads us to this, the whole idea of cognitive dissonance, right? So for those of you who may not know what that is, it's when your belief system and your actions are not in alignment, right? So you can be, you're thinking one thing and doing another, or believing one thing and doing another. And so because the brain doesn't like that. The brain wants things to be in sync. So we have to change one thing or the other. Either we change what we think and believe or we change what we're doing because if when there that clash is going on, the brain tries to resolve it by rationalizing one or the other. So Gase is like basically the same thing when our old beliefs when the old beliefs clash with the positive feelings like that we're enjoying in that minute. We're enjoying the award, the promotion, the raise, the new business idea that we might have had some good strides with so far. When one of these has to win, so the old belief of I'm gonna screw up with money, I'm never gonna have money, I'm a my ADHD and my impulsivity and that and all the shame that went along with that, and it's all in the vault. All that stuff starts to surge up, and it's gonna wrap around those positive feelings of that I just got from people buying my brand new online course Minecraft, and I've had sales happening, and when that happens, okay, well, we got to go back to when you were a kid and you were shamed to death and shamed to death in college and shamed to death with this and shamed to death with that, to death with that. And back when you were first in college and blew it with your first credit card, that's all coming back. No, because that's what happens is once we have this whole new story going on, this new story with big success going on with people loving and buying my stuff, the minute I got like excited about that, it tries. Difference is it tried, it didn't succeed because I've done a lot of work on myself to be truthful. Though it did try, it really did try. And like I said, that example I gave you of me not getting back to some nice folks who were reaching out about something else. It was this group that it was trying again because that is the whole reason I passively just let that slip and I wasn't even aware of it because that upper limit problem was trying to wrap around, you're feeling too good, Kim, you're feeling too good. You got to go back to your thermostat. You got to go back to that thermostat where you got some bad stuff going on. I'm not even saying crushing stuff, but you can't be up here on your high vibe disc loving life and being an entrepreneur because that's not what we're used to. So it tried, but it didn't succeed. And gay also leads us to this, the whole idea of cognitive dissonance, right? So for those of you who may not know what that is, it's when your belief system and your actions are not in alignment, right? So you can be, you're thinking one thing and doing another, or believing one thing and doing another. And so because the brain doesn't like that. The brain wants things to be in sync. So we have to change one thing or the other. Either we change what we think and believe or we change what we're doing because if when there that clash is going on, the brain tries to resolve it by rationalizing one or the other. So Gase is like basically the same thing when our old beliefs when the old beliefs clash with the positive feelings like that we're enjoying in that minute. We're enjoying the award, the promotion, the raise, the new business idea that we might have had some good strides with so far. When one of these has to win, so the old belief of I'm gonna screw up with money, I'm never gonna have money, I'm a my ADHD and my impulsivity and that and all the shame that went along with that, and it's all in the vault. All that stuff starts to surge up, and it's gonna wrap around those positive feelings of that I just got from people buying my brand new online course Minecraft, and I've had sales happening, and when that happens, okay, well, we got to go back to when you were a kid and you were shamed to death and shamed to death in college and shamed to death with this and shamed to death with that, to death with that. And back when you were first in college and blew it with your first credit card, that's all coming back. No, because that's what happens is once we have this whole new story going on, this new story with big success going on, with people loving and buying my stuff. The minute I got like excited about that, it tries. Difference is it tried, it didn't succeed because I've done a lot of work on myself, to be truthful. Though it did try, it really did try. And like I said, that example I gave you of me not getting back to some nice folks who were reaching out about something else. It was this group that it was trying again, because that is the whole reason I passively just let that slip, and I wasn't even aware of it, because that upper limit problem was trying to wrap around. You're feeling too good, Kim. You're feeling too good. You got to go back to your thermostat. You got to go back to that thermostat where you got some bad stuff going on. I'm not even saying crushing stuff, but you can't be up here on your high vibe disc loving life and being an entrepreneur, because that's not what we're used to. So it tried, but it didn't succeed. So of course that example is at me at a fabulous 59, and it started, but I cannot tell you now that I have this wisdom. Of course, what is happening, you know, in my life without this wisdom, it just, the shame. I picture shame like a dementor, just wearing this faceless, hooded beast, just trying to suck all the joy out of you. And there were times throughout my life, many times actually, where the shame dementor would circle around and would just, just stab me in the butt. I mean, that's just what, because this stuff comes out of the vault, all these messages that were said to us when we were young, and whatever, and different things like that. But here's the thing. So I'm just going to say it again because this is important. So Gay Hendricks says beliefs, the stuff in the vault, these old, nasty, old story beliefs, clash with these new story positive feelings. One of them has to win. So if the old belief wins, you turn down the volume on the positive feeling. He says, or lose some money, or start an intimacy destroying argument. If it's not a money example, if it's a love example, you start an argument, intimacy destroying argument, and you figure a way to self sabotage with your partner. If the good feeling wins, congratulations. Your practice in expanding your capacity for positive energy is paying off. So at this stage, I'm more in that area. But let me tell you, I want to humbly admit it's been a long, gradual learning. Because life gives us quizzes. This has been like a not an intensive, whatever is the opposite, like a doctorate, actually, going a really, really long time. Learning this stuff, because that's the stuff that's in my vault, all the shame. Growing up in an addicted family, we're no strangers to shame, that's sure. I mean, I did the backstroke in shame for, the first third of my life, basically. And then, and then we attract more shame. We don't know we're doing it, but we do. So I've had, when he talks in this book, when he speaks to me in this book, I can just, oh my gosh, if I had that wisdom then, but we can say that, but you're not ready for it then, right? As Wayne Dyer says frequently, um, when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. And that's just how it works. That's kind of how I feel with Gay Hendricks' book, actually. And so here's the super cool thing, because we know that each and every thought we think expands. And you know about the 17-second rule, right? He's not saying that, I'm saying that. Abraham Hicks talks a lot about that. And it's true. And if you think of it just logically, if you don't slap a number on it, obviously the longer we allow a thought to hang around, the stronger it gets. And thoughts, when they grow up, turn into beliefs. Then they get into the hard drive, and we begin to attract whatever it is we believe. And that's positive or negative, right? Or maybe neutral, but that's how it is. And so he says, your capacity expands. Oh, sorry. Your capacity expands in small increments each time you consciously let yourself enjoy the money you have. And would say, for me, the sales of Minecraft, right? The love you feel and the creativity you are expressing in the world. As this capacity, basically, as we get used to it. So many people talk about this. Wayne Dyer talks about it. Abraham Hicks talks about it. Oprah talks about it. Joe Dispenza talks about it. So we have to get used to the good feels, is what I'm saying, because the brain loves familiarity. The brain loves patterns. And so when the brain gets used to these patterns, it then expects more of whatever it is, which, if we're talking about positivity and making more money, for me, it has to be authentic. I'm just going to throw that in there. Making more money by making a difference and making an impact, then it's going to expand what I feel as if it's already happening. Actually visualizing the momentum, visualizing people buying the Minecraft course, visualizing people um, contacting me to go speak about happiness being a choice and about how to reduce anxiety and how to help Gen Zs love their lives more. Right? They just have to feel it, feel it, feel it, and see it. And then the brain, because the brain doesn't know the difference between what we're creating as far as a visual and these feelings and what's actually happening. The brain does not know the difference. When the good feels lead to the stuff coming in, attract phone calls and emails from people who want you to do whatever, then that solidifies it all and it attracts more. So that's what he's saying. As that capacity for enjoyment expands, so does your financial abundance. Let's say it again. As that capacity for enjoyment expands, so does your financial abundance. The love you feel and the creativity that you express. Okay, and this is also super important and something I practice every day in my life. And by the way, this book is not all about making more money. It's all of it. It's like the package. Love or whatever, whatever your vehicle is, your story is, whatever you're not feeling like you have enough of or that you want to improve and turn into more abundance. And so this is so true because the universe, God, source, however you want to say it, for me it's God, responds. It means just this energetic thing responds to every thought, right? So it responds. So if we're not practicing gratitude for what we already have, let's say it's a money example. Um, even if you've got $5 in the bank account, it's better than not having $5, right? And so to really feel it, like wealth is on its way. Wealth is on its way. I'm so grateful that on this day I have enough. On this day I have enough, and I practice this every day of my life in the woods with Giovanni. Being doing gratitude rampages at times, and of course the gratitude journal every single day. Because it really is true that when we're able to appreciate what we already have, it opens the door for so much more because I look at it as a birthday gift, right? I've used this example before where a friend shows up and maybe it's not even a birthday, maybe it's just they went traveling and came up with something exquisite from the Philippines or something, and it's just thoughtful and it's artistic and it's beautiful. Maybe it's jewelry, it's whatever it is, something to put up on the wall, and you're ready to go out the door for lunch. And they hand it to you all beautifully wrapped and telling you the story about how they found it for you and they were thinking of you. Da, da, da. You say, "Oh, that's nice, thanks," and you set it on the table. Let's go eat. I'm hungry. I mean, it's like not opening a gift. Not caring, not valuing all that went into that gift. And it's the same with God, source, universe, higher power, whatever you want to say. If we're not appreciating all that we have, and that's the people in our lives, it's the roof over our heads, it's the food, it's just the love, the discussion, the buzz at the table, if you're fortunate enough to have that. It's everything health wise. It's two legs at work, two arms at work, eyes that see, all of it. And then all the I often just I also am just grateful. I just throw it right out there for kind of synchronicity experiences and things that just went well. And they're not usually huge. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're just, wow, did that meeting go better than I thought? I thought so and so was going to get snarky and she didn't. And man, did that, something like that. And then oh my God, I don't think people realize the power of gratitude. It really, 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 because from a cognitive, neurological perspective, it does, like Melanie Beatty says, gratitude turns what we have into being enough and more. And it's really true. So now Gay Hendricks goes on to say, if you don't feel like you can muster that feeling up, if you things are really that hard for you to kind of create a positive thought in your mind. Again, the brain doesn't know the difference. And I also do a lot of these affirmations. I say free. I did it today actually. Good things are coming to me today. Good things always work out for me. Things like that. Um, and I enjoy making money. I always, he says this one, I always have plenty of money to do everything I want to do. To just say this stuff. And Brooke Castillo, I brought her up a bunch. She's an entrepreneur who's currently not a gazillionaire, if that is a word, but she's a multimillionaire. And again, it's not about the shallow Hal thing. She is actually a deep seed. She's all about the self-value. And she talks about this, how she visualized and she had a big setback where she lost it all in the beginning, lost all of it. Um, When she also talked about inheritance, she talked about a family member who got inheritance. I forget that whole story with that, but how that family member was constantly paranoid of losing it. And Brooke says, here's the thing, because in her head, she had this value issue because she's so afraid of losing it because she believed that the only way she was going to get that kind of money was if somebody gave it to her. Abraham Hicks says the same thing about the lottery. And people that play the lottery, don't, and I don't want to judge anybody, whatever, but she says, I don't do the lottery because it's gambling. I'm just not a fan of that. But the thing is that like puts a message out there that the only way I'll have that kind of money is if I get lucky and win it. Instead of like, I've got this mind, I've got this personality, I've got this skill set, this knowledge base, this experience, I've got all this and I can do it. I can do it. And it's for me, of hearing that also turned it around for me too, because that's why. And there's actually a ton. And Gay Hendricks, it's not for today because it's way deep in there, but there's so much research on folks who play the lottery. And there's one particular gentleman who he mentions in here who just won it a bunch of times. I forget the whole story with that. He had lots and lots of millions anyway that he won, and his life was a shambles, an absolute shambles. And the research on it says that the people who win the lottery go right back to their what was in the vault, and that comes from the place of valuing. And so Gay Hendricks, this is what just had me tap dancing on wisdom right here. He says because few people understand sort of what he calls the upper limit problem, right? The glass ceiling. A lot of people call it the glass ceiling. The upper limit problem, because we don't get it, that we naturally self sabotage. Even if you're a healthy person, we're not saying people aren't healthy. We're saying it's actually we're primed for negative thinking for survival reasons. But so you can be a total self sabotager from childhood stuff, or it can just be from the sort of natural part of us. It's a negative, for survival reasons, a negative thinker. He said, people who don't understand this, many people believe that we're flawed, not destined for greatness, or simply not good enough to deserve the dreams we want to achieve. So many people talk about this. Wayne Dyer's a big one, Oprah's a big one, all the same people, really. And many more, many more. Brooke Castillo with her stuff, it comes down to you gotta feel that you're worthy of it. If you don't, you gotta go stop what you're doing and go back to that place and do the work on practicing feeling worthy. People sometimes think, just like with happiness, they think so and so got hit with a happiness stick, or they won the happiness lottery, they got the golden Wonka ticket, or somebody happiness fairy dropped down and dropped happy pixie dust on them. That's not how it works. It takes lots and lots of work and courage to be happy, and like anything else, it certainly gets easier. Um, he says, and other people, there's the people just don't understand it. He says others miss out, on this, these huge successes because they just chalk it up to like, bad timing or bad luck. They're missing the boat here. They're missing the boat here. So he said millions of people are stuck on the verge of reaching their goals, can't seem to scale the wall, and are struggling under a glass ceiling that is completely within their control, waiting to be removed. It's interesting because I was just listening to Wayne Dyer a couple times this week. I go in Jags, and he says a lot of just really, really good, solid. He's got a lot of he just had a lot of wisdom. Has certainly touched my life, which I'm forever grateful. But he often says we often teach best what we need to learn ourselves. And I think I'm having so much fun with this, the big leap thing, is because I'm in this right now. I'm in this. I'm in the process of writing my new story. There's been so much healing, and I'm having a blast building this business. It's actually built. I mean, you can always continue to build, but it's up, it's out there, it's launched. I'm getting all kinds of positive feedback, and I'm in this right now. And it's also still scary. I mean, my husband and I took a business loan, and it's going fine as of right now. And I would be lying, which I'm not wired for lies, if I didn't say that the shameful dementors, they're little mini me's. I think we squashed the big ones, but they're little mini me's trying to get me. These little hooded creatures, faceless creatures, try to get me. Those fear monsters try to get me at times. And there's a lot of, thankfully, I'm in a very, very supportive mastermind group because I don't think there's not one of them, um, has, or I should say every one of them. Let's flip it around. Every single one of them has admitted to having limiting beliefs and the fear monsters. Some of them call them that, and how, and it's sort of this constant talking back because the brain is just wired that way. And if you've had other stuff happen in your life that just kind of magnifies it, that makes it even tougher. But the thing is, this stuff's all coming from the vault, so we're not, until we bring it to the surface. Until we bring it to the surface, it's going to keep having a reign over us. We've got to really be active and engaged in our thoughts to talk back to it and turn around that story, write a new story, clear the canvas, just get a new canvas, get out the colorful pastels, and write your heart's desires all over it. I think this is a nice place to end part 2 of the big leap. And there definitely will be a part 3, maybe even a part 4. So that's it. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the beautiful Northern Vermont. Have a mindful, grateful, prosperous day.